This video will go over the common motions used in JSA debates. There are many motions allowable by Robert's Rules of Order, but this video will cover the ones used in JSA. The first three motions I want to go over may be made at any point, even if it means interrupting the speaker. The first motion is the point of order. This motion can be used to correct an error in parliamentary procedure. This is your chance to tell the moderator that he or she is wrong. Now, the one problem with this motion is that the moderator rules on it, so make sure you know you're right. A good moderator will accept when he or she is wrong and correct the error. Now, the next motion is the point of personal privilege. An example would be to ask the speaker to speak louder, or to ask someone to close the door or turn up the air conditioning. Don't use this to ask to simply go to the bathroom or leave the room. No one cares, just go. I also recommend not using this motion to interrupt a speaker unless it's urgent. You do have the speaker, but if it's something like turn up the AC, that can generally wait. The one reason to interrupt the speaker would be to ask the speaker to speak louder. The third motion I want to go over is the point of inquiry. This can be used to ask a question about parliamentary procedure. The rest of the motions have to be made between speeches other than these three. Now, the first motion that can be made between speeches is the motion to caucus. This motion, if seconded and passed by a majority, suspends debate temporarily. This motion can be used if no one wants to give a subsequent speech. And during a caucus, main speakers can talk to audience members and see if they can give them some tips on what to say. A successful caucus will generally end with one or more people raising their hands to give a subsequent speech. Now, there may only be one caucus in each debate, and it may only last up to 5 minutes in length. So if someone tries to motion for a second caucus, the moderator will overrule this. Now, the person motioning for a caucus should also include the amount of time in the motion. So instead of saying, I motion to caucus, a delegate should say, I motion to caucus for 3 minutes, or however much time he or she chooses. The next motion I want to go over is the motion to suspend the rules. This motion requires a second and a 2/3 supermajority vote by the audience. Generally, it's used when no one wants to give a subsequent speech for a particular side. So if you make the motion, you can have 2 speakers for the pro in a row, or 2 speakers for the con. But this motion may also be used to overturn any set rule, such as the rule that allows only one caucus per debate. Now, keep in mind that if someone tries to make a motion that isn't really reasonable, the moderator reserves the right to overrule it. So if someone says, say, motion to have all speakers stand on their heads, the moderator will overrule this motion and will not let it go to a vote. Now, the other thing that the moderator can overrule is any motion that involves anything inappropriate or profanity. So if someone motions to allow profanity or to allow someone to, say, not debate anymore and just have a party in the room, the moderator will probably overrule these motions. So be reasonable with your motions to suspend the rules. The next motion I want to go over is the motion to extend a speaker's time. This motion also requires a second and a 2/3 supermajority vote by the audience. It's usually made after a speaker's time has elapsed, but it can be made at the beginning of a speech as well. Now, only one of these motions may be made per speaker, and it may only last a total of 1 minute. Keep in mind that a main speaker's time may not be extended, only a subsequent speaker. And if a speaker has been yielded time from another speaker, that speaker may not receive more time from an extension. The next motion I want to go over is the motion to a previous question. This is one of the most common motions in JSA debates, and it's required in every debate. The motion requires a second and a 2/3 supermajority vote by the audience, and when passed, subsequent speeches end and closing speeches begin immediately. Now, if someone tries to motion to the previous question with barely any time left in the, lots of time left in the block, let's say, because otherwise there's not really anything to do with the rest of the block. Likewise, if someone tries to motion to the previous question too late, the moderator will probably have already stepped in and said, I request a motion, and I ask someone from the audience to make the motion. If no one does that, then the moderator can also step in and just say, we're going to the previous question. This is just done in the interest of time to make sure that JSA debates flow smoothly and fulfill the required amount in each block. The next thing I want to go over is the call for division. If a voice vote on any motion or the resolution is close, and the moderator does not request a hand count, any speaker or audience member may call for division. This does not require a vote, and the request must be granted by the moderator. If the results are still close after a hand count, an audience member may request a third and final standing count. The moderator would then ask everyone in favor to rise, and then all opposed to rise. The moderator does not have to grant the standing count, and it may only be requested when voting on the resolution, not for voting on a simple motion. The next motion I want to go over is the motion to amend. There are two ways to make this motion. The first one is before the debate, a total of 24 hours or more before the debate begins. If both speakers want to amend the resolution, they may contact the director of debate no less than 24 hours before the scheduled start time. If the director of debate and both speakers agree to this amendment, the resolution will automatically change. Now, if an audience member during the debate wishes to amend the resolution, the motion must be made at the beginning of the debate, and both main speakers must approve. Then a second and a majority vote must happen in order for the amendment to go into place. The amendment is also debatable. So before voting, up to 2 speakers in favor and 2 speakers against the amendment may give a speech for up to 1 minute. The first speech will be by someone in favor, and the second speech will be made by someone opposed, and then it will alternate. Keep in mind that extensions on time may not be granted during these amendment debate speeches.